Good afternoon. Welcome to the Board of Trustees regular meeting for March 12th, 2026. We're meeting at the Temecula campus and the time is 4:01. We will move on to item 1.2, the Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Corona, could you lead us in the pledge, please?
I'd love to. Everybody please stand up. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Item 1.3, roll call establishment of quorum.
Trustee Ashley?
Present.
Trustee Carpenter?
Present.
Trustee Corona?
present.
Trustee Smith?
Present.
Trustee Silva?
Here.
Student Trustee Waluko?
Present.
Academic Senate Anjanette Oberg? Classified Senate Ed Saucedo? Student Government Association Lamari Oliver for Ubaldo Pente.
Welcome. Okay, thank you. And Lamari, Lamari? Welcome and thanks for joining us. Moving on to item 1.4, approval of the minutes of the February 12th, 2026 meeting. Do we have a motion to approve that meeting?
Motion to approve.
Chair, I'll second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Student trustee, please vote.
Aye.
Trustees, please vote. Aye.
Aye.
It passes 5-0 unanimously. Item 1.5, revision, adoption, ordering of the agenda. It's recommended the board approve the order of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
Chair, I'll move to approve.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Student trustee, please vote.
Aye.
Trustees, please vote.
Aye.
Aye. Item 2.1, public comment. Do we have, instead of reading the script, I will let you know that we do not have anyone in line for public comment tonight, so we can move on. Item 3, closed session, and 3.1, closed session notice. Pursuant to all applicable education codes, government codes, and recently enacted statutes, the Board of Trustees will meet in closed session to discuss and/or act on the following matters. 3.2, conference with real property negotiator, and there's a long list of assessors' parcels numbers. Item 3.3, conference with legal counsel, potential litigation. Item 3.4, conference with labor negotiator, California School Employees Association, CSEA. Item 3.5, conference with labor negotiator, California Teachers Association, CTA. Item 3.6, conference with labor negotiator, Communication Workers of America, CWA. Item 3.7, public employee discipline dismissal release, one case. So with that, we will now adjourn to closed session and we will come back and report anything that's necessary for us to report. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We're back. We had closed session and we are now reconvening from closed session. And we do not, even though the closed session ran a few minutes long, we do not have anything to report out. So with that, we are moving on to item 4.1, comments of individual groups, delegations. I'm sorry. Limited, here it is. My screen was a little bit shifted up. Limited to agenda items. Do we have anyone that's pulled a sheet? Well, you were just waiting for that. So we don't have any comments. So we can now move on to item 5, reports. We're starting our new process this month where reports are limited to 5 minutes across the board. And we will start first with the trustees and we'll move right down to Trustee Smith. If you have a report, time to make it.
Thank you, Trustee Ashley. Yeah, I have one thing to report. Recently, Hammett Unified they're opening a new elementary, actually not too far from the Menifee campus. Actually, Roger was there as well. The reason I really want to highlight it, though, I ended up going to Tockwitz High School, and it was very, very nice high school. But in the end, I visited the Career Center, and a very dynamic person was running it. So one of my questions there was, because, you know, she had just had representations from all the colleges and all of that was going on. So I asked her, I said, I'm curious, you know, the percentages of them here you have signing up, are they going to the community college or, you know, most of them's going off to the 4-year? And she says, hands down, she says the majority of them are signing up for the community college. So that was interesting to hear. And it was interesting to hear from that perspective, because this was here as one of our premier high schools. And yet she was seeing a huge demand for the community college. So we just have to keep up the work. And I just thought that was something I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Corona.
Thank you. On February 19th, I attended the MSJC Employer Appreciation Luncheon. I know Trustee Vicky Carpenter, you were there, and Roger and so forth. It was really nice. On February 21st, my family and I participated in the community walkthrough event for Willimar's new hospital. It's a $400 million 7-story hospital. And on March 19th, I plan to attend MSJC's K-12 Summit. I want to add about that hospital. It's called the Southwest Healthcare Inland Valley Hospital. It is a beautiful and significant addition to our region, and it will create valuable opportunities for many of our students pursuing career in the medical field. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Corona. Trustee Silva.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Chair Ashley. In honor of National Athletic Training Month, I would like to recognize our athletic trainers at MSJC, David Brunken and Tiffany Ray Bobo, as well as our athletic training and pre-professional students for their dedication to keeping our student athletes safe and healthy. Throughout the month of March, athletic trainers across the country are recognized for their commitment to injury prevention, treatment, and rehabilitation, as well as for mentoring and educating the next generation of healthcare professionals. Their work plays a vital role in helping student athletes remain active, perform at their best, and recover safely when injuries occur. Athletic trainers are highly educated healthcare professionals whose expertise and dedication make a meaningful difference in the lives of the students that they serve. I can safely speak for my board colleagues in expressing our sincere appreciation for the outstanding athletic training team we have here at MSJC. On March 9th, I had the opportunity to participate in the TEDx MSJC Speaker Series. My presentation was titled, How California Community College Sports Can Amplify the Academic Experience. I would like to thank Dr. Sanders Grew for organizing the event in her first year of leading the program. I would also like to recognize Alan Marsala, Associate Professor of Digital Media and the event's production lead, along with his team, especially the student workers who helped make the event possible. Additional thanks go to Dr. Andrea Pasolini who served as the marketing lead for the project while continuing her outstanding work as our public information officer, as well as her team and student staff who supported the effort. Finally, I want to express my sincere appreciation to my coach, Jennifer Bainey, who read and reread multiple drafts of my talk. Her thoughtful feedback and incredible quick turnaround were invaluable throughout the process. On March 4th, I joined my K-12 colleagues at the Riverside County Office of Education State of Education Address, held at the Rain Cross Convention Center in downtown Riverside. I was joined by Director Morrison and Dr. Pasolini, and together we were proud to represent MSJC at the event. It was encouraging to see strong participation from our college as well as from many partners in the K-12 education community across the region. Events like this provide a valuable opportunity to connect with education leaders and discuss the important work being done to support students throughout Riverside County. During the week of February 16th, the Association of California Community College Administrators, or A3CA, held its annual conference, or ACA. While I did not attend, my immediate supervisor at my place of employment was in attendance and shared a valuable takeaway from one of the breakout sessions focused on the importance of unplugging. The session highlighted a challenge that many workplaces face today: the expectation that employees remain constantly connected through email and text messages. With modern technology, it is easy to send a message at any hour, but doing so can unintentionally blur the boundaries between work time and personal time. Fortunately, technology now provides solutions such as scheduled or delayed sending for emails and text messages. Using these tools allows us to capture ideas when they occur while still respecting professional boundaries. Respecting these boundaries helps support staff well-being and reinforces a healthier work-life balance for everyone. By being intentional, when we communicate, we can set a positive tone for our organization and ensure that time away from work truly remains time away. I would like to wish everyone the best of luck in their NC2A men's basketball brackets. I know I'll be filling mine out. And with that, I would like to wish everyone a happy and safe National Plant a Flower Day. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Silva. Trustee Carpenter.
Thank you, Trustee Ashley. I'll put my mic on. Among the myriad of other things I've been doing and other hats in the community, and aside from the event that Trustee Corona went to, I also attended the President's Honor Roll event with Trustee Ashley, which was a very uplifting and wonderful moment to see the smiles and the success and the participation. And one of my agents from my office came up to me after, and her daughter had just received the honor roll as well. So it was kind of a proud moment for me. Otherwise, that concludes my report, and I wish everyone a happy Easter. I don't think we'll be back until then after Easter. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Carpenter. I have a short report. I enjoyed the President's Honor Roll. Sometimes when you have to deal with kind of difficult news, and in our position, it's so great to just see students that are just killing it, and they're coming with family members and they're lining up, and we fed them and took lots of photos with them, and they got these really cool looking swag bags. Those Trader Joe's shopping bags that sell out and everyone fights over them. They look just like that. I may or may not have gotten one for being a good, I made the President's Honor Roll. I got a swag bag myself.
Take the president's list somewhere.
It's great. And anyway, it was well run. Thank you, Jackie Morrison and team, for putting that together, and Roger. Other than that, I just want to give a brief update on the presidential search. And that is, the update is, I really want to thank all the members of the search team. We are working so hard this week. And this is it's the real hard work, nothing glamorous about it, work, and we'll have a meeting then next week, our second big meeting. Everything is going well. There's no hiccups. We're moving according to schedule, and I don't want to say any more than that. It's going very well. And then finally, I'll just, how sometimes when you're in a big building like this and it just seems calm, and even though everyone isn't perfectly calm in their lives, we're in this like calm institution and we go outside and let's say the wind's blowing like hell or it's raining and there's branches coming off the trees. Sometimes I feel like we're in here governing an institution, and then you go a few steps up, and then nationally and internationally, we're at war in the Middle East, and we have fighting forces in harm's way. There's innocents in these places in the Middle East that have been killed and have been injured. And so I just want to let's keep our thoughts to the innocent people that have caught up in this and our fighting forces and keep them in our thoughts. And hopefully this situation can end as soon as possible. And I just want everyone to I kind of bring it up as a way of saying, I'm amazed at our college. We just can move along despite the craziness that goes on outside and above us. And I'm very proud of that. And that concludes my report. Next we have our student trustee, Claudia. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Trustee Ashley. I have a fairly short report this month. On February 28th to March 4th, I had the opportunity to attend the legislative conference, or advocacy conference in Washington, D.C. with a few other SGA members. The conference itself went very well. Actually, Lamari was also part of our delegation, so maybe he'll say a few words on how it went from his end. But we got to our meetings and we were able to get in there and advocate for the state, really. We spoke on workforce and the Pell Grant and the fully funding of those. And it was a really good opportunity just to have our students, be at the Capitol and speak on behalf of the school and on behalf of the state. I also got to attend the President's Honor Roll as a recipient. That was my first time being able to attend. So I thought it was an amazing program. I really loved that students were able to, kind of have a spotlight on their achievements. And it seemed like everyone was having a great time. So thank you to everyone who made that happen. I had a lot of fun. I also did my first Tea with the Student Trustee event last month, which had a surprisingly good turnout. And I was able to get in some conversations with students that I wouldn't have otherwise had the chance to have, some of which I wanted to bring up to you guys here. A few students actually came up to me regarding how they felt with the differences between the campuses. These students only attend the San Jacinto campus or classes at the San Jacinto campus. And with all of the new updates that we've been doing to the other campuses, they have noticed that it feels like San Jacinto is a little bit behind and it's starting to become noticeable to the students. So I know that, a few of the board members here have brought that up in the past, and I'm hoping that we're working towards a future where, it could be a little bit more even as far as beautification and maybe an overall focus on the campus itself.
They're not alone.
They're not alone. Thank you. I agree with where they were coming from. I tried to explain, as best as I could with the project that we've been having across the district, and that, we're definitely not just ignoring San Jacinto, but hopefully there will be further projects in the future that would kind of beautify San Jacinto somewhat to the Menifee and Temecula levels. And then I wanted to briefly speak on something that I learned in one of my classes, actually. I'm taking an aging and policy class under our gerontology program right now. And something that my professor said has stuck with me since the beginning of the semester. I'm taking it with Tracy Herzog, I believe. That's how you pronounce it. But I wanted to
learning about Trustee Smith?
I'm sorry. Wow. That's recorded.
Maybe by about a year. Trustees.
That took me a second, but yeah, it's for education. But something that my professor said has really resounded with me. She stated that oftentimes the people who have the power to make policy and make decisions on behalf of an institution are not the ones who are living the reality of the problems that they are trying to solve. The policies that arise are mostly based on assumptions. Policy is a reflection of how society chooses to support, limit, or ignore people and the constituents they represent. That's why I believe it's so important that we approach our decisions as an institution with intention, continually asking whether the choices we make truly serve the students who experience them every day. And with that, I wish you a happy Women's History Month and a happy St. Patrick's Day. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'm sorry for interrupting your report. Couldn't help it.
At least you didn't use me, so, because I'm
I
sitting
would
next to you. I would
never do that.
wouldn't have been pretty.
We'll now move on to 5.3, the Student Government Association, and I am thrilled to hear we have a student senator to speak to us tonight. I don't know your last name, but Lamari is your first name?
Yes.
Well, the floor is yours, sir.
Hello, everyone. Hope you guys are doing all well. My name is Lamari Oliver, and I'm honored to be here on behalf of our SGA president, Puente. He's currently at Sacramento for a statewide student rally. Thank you, Trustee Ashley, for the warm welcome as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We don't have much to report for SGA. We have been actively working on a revision to the SGA Constitution and bylaws. We are on track to finalize all updates by March 19th, 2026. I have been to DC, and it was a very great thing to do, especially my first time doing any advocacy thing for MSJC. Yes. And additionally, today was our Women's Day event. That went really well. It was on the Menifee campus, featuring our keynote speaker, Secret Brown. Yeah, and then the event went really well. We had some good engagement for the attendees. Also wanted to let you know that San Jacinto Council is spearheading a peaceful protest next week against ICE. It will be placed on March 18th from 3 p.m. to 5:30. That concludes my report, but have an amazing week, everybody.
Thank you, Senator Oliver. 5.4, Academic Senate, Professor Oberg.
Aloha, everyone. Academic Senate has created work groups. I actually was hoping to refer to your agenda to see how you're kind of doing the working session agendas and use that as a model. But we're working on updating the faculty handbook, the syllabus checklist, facilitating chair elections. We're also looking to do a beautification list because faculty have shared some of those concerns. And we kind of have boots on the ground on the campus. So they want to put together a list of maybe identifying challenges and opportunities to improve, beautify the campus and make it more welcoming for all those who visit, with an emphasis on SJC as well. So thank you, Claudia. We're also looking to build out a formal reporting structure for faculty committee service, and we're building out a Senate policies manual. Right now, everything's kind of in pieces, and so we're consolidating it. And we have at this institution, we have to have these past practices or knowledge is retained by an individual. So we kind of want to codify that in a formal Senate policies handbook. We have had some concerns with our faculty committee appointment process. I want to thank Shawnee. She's our current appointment secretary. She worked really hard to appoint faculty to the various positions. I'm also thankful to Diana for taking the time to be receptive, to hear our concerns, and try to discuss ways where we can get on the same page and build out processes and structures to honor Senate purview while still meeting the needs of the institution. We've also had some great Senate Connect meeting discussions with Roger and Jeremy. I want to thank Roger. He's been really diligent about tapping into his network and trying to find AI connections that can pair with Senate to build out some necessary conversations around AI. We've also had some really great ideas about talking about maybe the need to establish a permanent institutional AI committee because it's going to be with us forever and it's likely going to impact the institution in ways well beyond the classroom. We also talked about the idea of maybe setting up some sort of research and assessment committee to assess when we might become a multi-college district. So maybe that's something the board wants to talk about too. And then we visited the tech committee this week, shared our data from our AI survey that we conducted at the end of fall. We had about 58 participants. An ongoing theme that we really do need some support and resources, and we need those supports and resources because there's a lot of burnout happening in the classrooms. We're overwhelmed with AI. And before we can leverage AI in innovative ways and give our students those skills and empowerment, we kind of need to address this as well. Talked about having some partnered conversations with maybe SGA and bringing students and faculty together and talking about maybe shared concerns where there's overlap and gaining perspective from one another's views. And so I want to thank Evan Tucker for starting that conversation, as well as Claudia. And then we've had the opportunity to meet with Dr. Bree Brown. She's our new PD Dean. Senate is committed to advocating to institutionalize a formal PD coordinator. Right now, those are connected to categorical funds that are expiring at the end of this semester. So we don't have committed ongoing funding for our dean roles, for our Canvas. We have one Canvas support person. We don't have a plan for that yet. And so Bree's putting together a plan and maintaining open dialogue with Senate. So I appreciate that. And she's also talked about maybe expanding some PD opportunities for AI and how we might work on faculty retention. Maybe I recommended working with EEOAC with Diana. So looking forward to what comes out of that. I do want to acknowledge, Tom, what you were talking about in the greater world. Our veteran students are being impacted by what's happening. We did lose our director of our Veterans Resource Center, and that was a very sudden loss. I think there's some underlying concerns that need to be addressed, but it's also impacting the access and the time availability for those Veterans Resource Centers at a time when it's critical to support our veterans. And with that, that is the end of my report. Happy Women's History Month, and thank you all for your time and consideration of our Senate report and needs. Thank you.
Thank you. And yes, I hope Cabinet will keep an eye on our veteran services and make sure that we're supporting our veterans right now. This is a very important time to be there for them. I see that we don't have our classified Senate here tonight, so we will move right on to Executive Cabinet, which is item 5.6. Normally I just hand it to Roger and he hands it to you guys, but
I do have something, a few things to share. So that's right, Brandon.
Oh, it's chaos.
You sit there long enough, you know. So on March 21st, Saturday, we have 5 student tutors that are actually presenting at the Southern California Writing Centers Association. They've been approached to present at that conference. So we're really proud of them. Looking forward to see how that comes out. April 9th, we're offering our career and resource fair at the Menifee campus. That's the day of the next board meeting from 10 to 1, again, on the Menifee campus. So looking forward to that. And then I did want to share just a really cool observation I had yesterday. So the Chancellor's Office offered a webinar from a company, partnering with a company called LibreText, which is offering zero-cost textbook materials to students. And so this was a sort of an introduction to all of the 115, 116 colleges. There were about 140 attendees. I counted more than, we could actually see the names of folks who were there. More than a dozen of the attendees were MSJC folks. So we were around 10% of the attendees out of all of the folks there. So clear interest in this. Our faculty have done really amazing work to decrease textbook costs, to increase the number of sections that we're offering at zero cost to students. And so that attendance just showed like there's more of an appetite to continue moving in that direction. So just really proud to see what I saw there. So that concludes my report. Yeah, no.
It's chaos. Okay. So I just have a few announcements for this evening. First, that we are working very diligently on our graduation recognition ceremonies for our affinity groups. So we're hoping in April we'll be able to provide you a more substantial calendar of events so you can plan your May appropriately with all of those different events and activities. Next week, we have a group participating in our ASU local education model partnership. And this is a model that we've been working with ASU on for concurrent enrollment between both our institutions. It's a brand new idea. And so we're sending a group really focused on the curriculum development piece and program development piece. So we're looking forward to getting more information on that. And if it continues on as a project that we'll be able to continue, we'll be bringing that forward for further conversation. I had the opportunity to participate with Roger in the Pizza with the President, and we had about 20 students join us that day. It was this week, goodness, it was on Wednesday. And they had so much to share. It was a great opportunity to sit down with them, learn about some of the needs specific to a multicultural center, which we are working on right now, getting them involved. And so they definitely had so much insight, and I'm so appreciative for them spending the time with us. And then lastly, Dr. Oberg, thank you so much for bringing up about our Veterans Resource Center. Obviously, it was a shock to the system to have such a sudden resignation of our Director of Veterans Resource Center. In addition, we did also have a resignation of an additional staff person, so coverage has been challenging. So we've had to modify some spaces in the interim while we're working on backfilling some of those positions so that we can get back up and running. But we have repositioned our veterans student workers in various locations at both sites. At Temecula, they're on our second floor, and the I was going to say courtyard area, but at the front counter area to be able to serve students. There is signage available. We do still have our certifying official that is doing the good work of certifying those students. And then at San Jacinto, we've also done another model where we are taking the student workers and placing them in our enrollment services, financial aid, and counseling area so that they do have access to support as needed. But obviously, we are waiting to fill some ranks so that we can reopen spaces and reimagine how we move forward. I do want to have a special gratitude to Dr. Citlali Gonzalez and also Diana Chacon, who have taken on the responsibilities of the BRC Center so that we can continue with continuity of service and offering up support to our veterans. We completed an audit that was pre-scheduled way before any of the resignations took place. And we're hoping to get some of that feedback as well so we can continually improve on our services and our programs.
Thank you.
As a one quick thing, want to let y'all know that starting next week, we're going to start sending out emails to students, letting them know that we have a new chatbot that we are launching at the beginning of April, just in time for summer registration, which will allow students to interact through text messages by asking questions about what's going on with the registration cycle, deadlines, and things like that. So we're going to start advertising that, pushing out. This will be the first time we've had something like that. It is not AI, so this is not something that's scrolling. Yeah, it's not scrolling through our website or anything like that. It's actually being programmed by our employees who have said, these are the questions that students are asking, and we're providing the answers for us. So it is automated in the sense of we've programmed in all the questions and answers, and we'll be able to add to that as we go. It does have some AI components like, tell me a joke, and it'll do something. But as far as the information goes, we didn't want it scrolling websites because they can be incorrect at times. And so it is programming, although it'll function like that, because again, you can have conversations with it working back and forth. So we're going to start advertising that. We are launching it for the summer registration cycle to see if there are any hiccups or issues that we need to fix before we launch it into the fall. But hopefully this will mean students can get access to information 24/7 by talking to Ernie.
Ernie. Got it.
There you go. That's what it's, so there it is. So just figure we'd let you all know about that.
Anything else? Nothing from you, Mr. Becca, or Ms. Galindo? Okay. All right, to me. We've heard the students being active in DC. We were unable to go because of activities in Washington. We were supposed to be there last week with the students, but we were able to continue with a number of Zoom calls, including meeting directly with one congressman, along with a number of agencies. And we did learn of opportunities for congressional formerly, I'm sorry, I still know them as earmarks, but the congressionally directed funding. I want to say we could not have submitted those for the first time. I think as far as I'm aware, we have ever submitted those, and it's a result of having a great new staff member on. And we have with us tonight Mr. Jordan Wright, who is our Director of Government and Community Relations, and he's hit the ground running and just done a fantastic job. What are you on, day 15? Thereabouts. Okay. So hopefully we will start to see some money come in, if not now, in the future, but it's great to have the advocacy and it's great to see the students there doing it. Sorry we couldn't join you, but
before you move on, can I tell a quick Jordan story? I want
to say something about Jordan too.
I dialed a person from Riverside from a congressman's office. I'm like, oh crap, hang that up. Please don't call me back. I'm driving to work. And he calls me back. And I'm like, hey, just called you by accident. Have a good day. If there's anything going on, let me know. Oh, you guys just hired Jordan. He's really dialed in. Good hire. So if you want to know who Jordan, I'll tell you who it was after the meeting if you'd like to know, but I don't keep that under the table. But anyway, you got a good reference after you were already hired by a random dial.
Can I also say I spoke to him a couple of days ago at one of our events. I was very impressed talking to him, his history, his experience. So it's a good choice. Welcome.
well, thank you. It's very good to hear, and we will subject you to humor later. That wasn't even a bad shot at you. So. As Trustee Smith identified, I was honored to be part of the state of the district and got to be assigned to Hemet High School. And it's amazing to see all the great things. And again, there was a focus on CTE, and I was so impressed with all the things. But I will embarrass Rebecca Teague, because as I'm walking through the halls, there's this big sign up of all the people that have moved on with athletic scholarships to four-year schools. And there I was, Owen Teague, Rebecca's son, on there for Cal State Chico. So I came back, I was so proud of that. That's our vice president's son. And she went here. And then I also said, like, Beckham went here. So, the president of ACCT, Ji-Hing Lee, actually asked to come visit us on Monday the 23rd. It's a very short window, but he approached us, and we can only unfortunately have two trustees. So we will have two trustees visit him along with cabinet, because he has heard so many great things about this district and the growth of the area. So it's kind of interesting to get somebody to approach us from a national perspective from Washington wanting to come out. So I think it'll only help carry our message forward for future legislative initiatives. And Jeremy and I, along with a team of about a dozen from MSJC, attended AI University at the Riverside Convention Center with about 400 other educators from the Inland Empire. It was a very dynamic event with both theoretical, practical, and there were faculty there as well. There are so many dimensions, and that is one of the connections that I will be facilitating Dr. Brown and Dr. Oberg to meet with. I learned so much, and it's a great opportunity. I encourage them to host it multiple times going forward because there was just so much information. And it was great because there were industry speakers. And then lastly, I see Rebecca Orlowski here. I will get kicked if I don't mention that we have the Speakeasy event that will be raising funds for the University Center on Friday, March 27th at this campus, along with dueling pianos, and quasi gambling. Well, not gambling, no, games of chance at tables that you could wager fake chips on. Is that safe? Okay, that's why you need to script me from now on. Okay, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Schultz and Cabinet. I must have. There we go. All right. We're going to move on to the consent calendar. Last chance if anyone needs to remove anything from the consent agenda to have considered separately. Was there? No.
About item 11.1.
11.1. Let me take a look. 11 is all the way into our open agenda, so
that's
that will be
later.
considered in open session. Okay, so then I guess we're good. Great. Okay. Sorry, let me get to the beginning of it. Jeez. All right. The superintendent president recommends approval of the consent agenda as presented. Do I have a motion to? Do I have
I'll
a
make a motion.
Sorry.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the consent calendar? Hearing none, student trustee, please vote.
Aye.
Trustees, please vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. I move now to item 10, open agenda, human resources 10.1, administrative appointments, 4 of them. It's recommended that we approve the administrative appointments. Do we have a motion?
Chair, I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
This is the one where Jordan gets approved, right? No, we got a chance to speak earlier during closed session, and I reminded him that I have an advisory vote.
Right, this is an opportunity. I mean, during discussion, yes, you should really bring something.
Let us know. What do you think?
We're making him squirm, dude.
Any other comments from the peanut gallery? Hearing none, student trustee, please vote.
Aye.
Trustees, please vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, Jordan. 10.2, classified appointments, I'm sorry. It's recommended that the board approve the classified employee appointments. Do we have a motion?
Chair Ashley, I move to approve item 10.2.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, student trustee, please vote.
Aye.
Trustees, please vote.
Aye.
I abstain.
And 1 abstention.
Not for anything back.
Okay. Do you got that? 10.3, presentation of the initial sunshine proposal from the Mount San Jacinto Faculty Association to the Mount San Jacinto Community College District. Presentation of the initial sunshine proposal from the Faculty Association to the Mount San Jacinto Community College District, and it's part of our attachment. Do we have a motion to accept the sunshine proposal?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? I will say that I did get a note from Dr. Craney. She was not feeling well. She wanted to be here to answer questions if needed, but she couldn't make it. Hearing that, student trustee, any other comments? Student trustee, please vote.
Aye.
Trustees, please vote.
Aye.
10.4, presentation of the initial sunshine proposal from the Mount San Jacinto Community College District to the Mount San Jacinto Faculty Association. Presentation of the initial sunshine proposal from the Mount San Jacinto I think it's double typed. That's why I was starting to get confused. So this is the proposal from MSJC to the faculty. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Student trustee, please vote.
Aye.
Trustees, please vote.
Aye.
All right. Open agenda, Superintendent President. 11.1, I-215 McCall Boulevard Interchange Improvement Project. The City of Menifee wished to submit a community project funding, CPF, request for the I-215 McCall Boulevard Interchange Improvement Project. The project proposes to widen McCall Boulevard and the existing structure over the 215, add a bike neighborhood electric vehicle lane on both sides of the road and bridge, add sidewalks on the north side of the road and bridge, and improve two nearby intersections where McCall intersects Bradley Road and Encanto Drive. These improvements will help enhance regional safety, support economic growth, improve emergency response, and promote multimodal connectivity. Riverside County Transportation Commission, in partnership with Caltrans, the County of Riverside, the cities of San Jacinto and Hemet, proposes to realign Route 79 between Dominigoni Parkway and Gilman Springs Road in the San Jacinto Hemet area. If you didn't catch that, there was a segue. This is another project. To the benefit of students, staff, and larger community, Mount San Jacinto Community College wishes to issue a letter of support for this project. And the letter of support is attached. Do we have any, do we have a motion to approve?
A motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I did want to ask, oh, sorry. No, go ahead. I did want to ask, do we know if this is going to directly impact like the commute into the college or, and how long it might take or?
This will probably not take effect for decades, the type of
okay.
funding level that they need. So it'll take incremental chunks of funding to achieve this. And so since it is outside kind of the scope of the college, that's why I wanted to bring this because if it's advocating for funding and things like that, certain bills, that makes sense. But since this is tangential, we did something like this similar about 2 years ago for Highway 79. No dollars have flowed to it yet, but it did. That advocacy with Mount San Jacinto lending credibility to the region helped put it on an agenda that makes it eligible for funding down the road. So that's why I wanted to bring it here and make sure that the board was comfortable with this. But there is no immediate awarding of $1 billion because that's what it's going to take.
I was a little confused. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Trustee Carpenter.
So I wondered when I saw this too, I didn't know if the city had asked for this letter of support or, and then I kind of thought about it for a while and I thought maybe it does impact our students and their transportation from that Lake Elsinore, Canyon Lake area. Well, no, they would go to the 15. So I kind of wondered why, but I thought maybe it was a transportation issue for our students. But so I found this interesting. So thank you for the explanation.
Trustee Corona.
Well, I still don't understand it. I mean, there's two different projects, right? But we're going to write a letter that supports both projects or just one?
So the way the process works is like when we were asking for letters of support for our funding request for the University Center for Infrastructure, we get partnership letters from other cities. It is to show that there is broader community buy-in. Since we have a large geographic footprint in the region, that is why they turn to us. If a single city on these larger transportation, now let's take them separate. I'm really talking about the route, Highway 79 issue, because we have such a larger footprint. It's really not any one city, but it impacts the transportation of our students as they would move throughout the district to and from, and it also impacts our employees as well.
I support, I'll wait and see how we vote, but So what about the McCall off-ramp?
I can speak to the.
Are we going to be
Well,
writing to Caltrans in support of that as well, or?
That's part of the vote, yes.
But, okay, it's just the way it was written, it seemed a little confusing.
Separate letters written, one for each project?
Yeah, because it seemed like we're only writing one letter for support of McCall,
We'll break them.
but not the
We'll
other.
update and break them up, yeah, to make it clear.
Okay, and so another question I had, so is this something that our college traditionally does, support projects for other cities? And when does it stop? Can we do this for other cities
When
in
there's
the
a
future?
nexus for the college, so for example, both of these have a direct impact on our students because everybody is commuting in some way, especially within the city of Menifee. The city of Menifee is the one that explicitly reached out. Dr. Pasolini, I know you're catching up real quick because you were the one that was approached from the city of Menifee, and I don't think Jordan was here yet. But do you have anything more on this?
Just because McCall is kind of a long ways from an entrance compared to Newport. Okay, so my question is, can like other cities, like say for instance, the next following exit to McCall is Ethanek? Can Paris in the future maybe count on the college to write such a letter? Because possibly,
And
okay.
that's why I would bring it
Thank you.
here, though, not making that determination administratively because it's outside of the direct scope. That's why both of these are tangential. So it's not directly impacting like funding or a state bond for education facilities.
Sounds like a great project.
I would say that President Schultz, Trustee Silva, and Trustee Smith, you guys be more than the rest of us, the other three, know that anything that improve the Gilman Hot Springs area is going to save a lot of lives. It's been a long history of high-speed accidents, a lot of people rushing in that area. Can be quite treacherous. Traffic backs up heavily. So if you wanted to speak to that project, and it sounds like you already feel comfortable with it, coming from the McCall Road, that on one side you think well, that's Sun City. Like, how's that really affect MSJC? But honestly, on one side of that bridge is all the shopping. On the other side of the bridge is affordable housing apartments and very low cost housing, like single family homes that are very affordable. And there are kids on electric bikes, on scooters going across McCall, high school kids, MSJC students going across. Like, it is a very dangerous overpass. And I know that Trustee Corona and Trustee Carpenter will agree with me. Yeah, that is because all your years at Heritage High and at Liberty, you've seen the number of young people all going across that road. So anything that would improve that for me is a win for our students, but also a win for our community. And we would expect the communities to support us when we need them also.
May I say something?
Yes.
Yeah, the 79 support, this has been going on for decades, as Roger said, but eventually I think something would be done. But if you think about it for what would be the benefit of MSJC, it would definitely cut down the travel time for our students in the pass area to come into the San Jacinto campus. And then it would obviously help the travel time between the San Jacinto campus and the Menifee campus. It would be a tremendous advantage, as Roger said, not just for the students, just for the employees and the staff that has to go in between. It would be huge, just huge.
I have another question. I thought that at some point last year or the year before did we not do a letter of support for this project?
We
For the
did, but I think we're
79?
looking for a fresh one for this latest round of requests.
Okay, thank you. I thought we did.
Okay. Claudia?
Apologies. I have one more question. This is more of a conceptual question, but if we were to vote in the affirmative for this, does it imply that we acknowledge the growth that it would also bring and that we would be responding to that as an institution? Like, I don't know if I worded that well, but
I think it acknowledges the growth that's already here and we're trying to catch up. And the sad thing is, like I said, I'm not trying to be funny about this. It's going to take probably a couple of decades because they're trying to assemble the land right now, the right of way, the environmental. Those are the easy stages, and then the design. The construction is really the last phase and probably the quickest phase, but all the prior planning and all the requisite legal things you have to do. So I'm not an expert on this, but I do know that it will take quite some time, and then trying to build the funding war chests up to get it done will take quite a bit of time. And I'm hearing like not millions, billions to have to do this.
I wanted to say that our college holds value. Our word, our institution is respected throughout the region. If we decide to support this, it will help in this project that will take decades and billions of dollars. That's it.
I think we're ready to vote. The longest discussion is on the item that has the least to do with the college. It's kind of ironic, but okay. Student trustee, please vote.
Aye.
Trustees, please vote.
Aye.
Thank you. And now we are to item 12, comments of individual groups, delegations limited to non-agenda items. And we have no one here to speak on non-agenda items like the old days. We even were serenaded many times on that part of the agenda, but not lately. Item 13, information agenda. This is information, so it's not for a vote. California Community College Trustee Board of Directors election 2026. Pursuant to the CCCT board governing policies, the election of members of the CCCT board of the league will take place between March 10th and April 25th. This year, there are 9 seats up for election with 6 incumbents running. Candidate statements and bios are available on the CCLC website. Each community college shall have 1 vote for each of the 9 seats on the CCCT board. Only 1 vote may be cast for any nominee or write-in candidate. The 4 candidates who receive the most votes will serve a 3-year term. The reason this item is being placed on this month's agenda is for us to study and come back next month with recommendations. Trustee Corona, can you wait till a discussion or? Well, since there is no vote.
Of course, yes.
Go ahead.
I just want to say there's 9 candidates and there's 9 positions. I mean, what is their discussion? Why should we even discuss this?
We could still not support some of them if we think they're doing a bad job. Not a bad question. Okay, can we move on? Any other questions on that? Okay. Item 13.2, board self-evaluation tool. Anna Sterling, Dean of Institutional Effectiveness, will review the final self-evaluation tool created based on the 23 to 25 board goals extended through June 30th, 2026 in August 2025. She'll analyze the board's performance, strengths, and areas of opportunity, and in preparation for new goal development. There is a PDF for us to look at, and the survey is there, and I believe Dean Sterling is going to talk to us about it. So the floor is yours, Anna. Nope. Use your teacher voice.
Use this one. This one on?
Okay.
All right. Hello, everyone. I know it's been a minute since you've seen me. I'm back. I'm here to talk to you about your self-evaluation. So as you remember from last year, we discussed our board policy 2745, which outlines the process and timeline for the board self-evaluation. So that was last year, year 1. And we did the initial goal progress survey. And we shared the results of that survey out with y'all at the last year. So this year we're in year 2. So you'll be doing another round of the survey again, looking at the goals, and we'll talk about that in just a second. And then you'll be using the results of that survey in your board retreat to talk about the development of your future goals. So the self-evaluation survey is 2 parts. It should take you somewhere between 15 to 20 minutes to go through the survey. So I wanted to give you that time so you know how long it's going to take. So part 1 is going to be the evaluation of your key functional areas, all of these different areas here. And then your part 2 is going to be the evaluation of progress towards your existing goals, and then some open-ended questions that will hopefully, again, help you with the development of your future goals at that board retreat. So super brief, again, next steps. The survey will go out to you via email on March 16th, and it'll be available to you from March 16th to March 23rd. Once you complete that, the results will be compiled and be shared again with you at the retreat in April. Through that workshop, you'll be guided through the development of goals and ideas for goals. We'll do the final report, bring that back in June at the first meeting in June after review, and if there are any changes or things that need to be adjusted in that, and then you'll do adoption at the second meeting in June. That's our current timeline. These, of course, could be adjusted depending on other activities, but that is the timeline for the board self-evaluation. Any questions?
But we just need to make sure when we open that and we get busy that we budgeted enough time where we aren't gonna have to just sit down and give yourself a half an hour so that you can write thoughtful comments where there's comments available. Yes, thank you.
Of course.
Well, I'll just move right on then. Item 13.3, enrollment management update. Brandon Moore, Vice President of IE and EM, will provide an update on the district's enrollment management strategy.
Yes, I will. In a second. There it is. All right, so we're here to talk about our spring 2026 enrollments, and then we'll talk a little bit about the annual stuff at the end here. So it's going to be short, sweet, to the point. So this is the number of sections, and I always give you a 5-year window just so we can see where we've been. But this is showing you that the number of sections that we're offering in spring 26, which is on your far right, is 1,597, which is, we would just say it's identical to last year. It's flat. So we are 1 section less than what we offered last year. But what you will notice is that the fill rate is actually up. So last year we were about 89% filled, and this year we're running just over 90% filled for the sections. Again, there'll be some slight fluctuation in this because we do have late start classes that started recently, and so there is a little bit of fluctuation in there. But again, we are maintaining flat. We are not planning to increase the schedule by a lot of sections, and I will talk about why that is coming up. However, you still might see an adjustment of the courses offered. So disciplines will rotate some courses in there, so there will be a slight difference in offerings, but we're not looking to add a lot of sections to the schedule. So our head count by term. So spring of 26, we did see a slight decrease in the head count by just over 500 students. But because the fill rate is higher, those students that are here are taking a few more units on average. And so that is actually keeping all the other counts a little bit higher. But again, in the world that we're dealing with, we would again consider this flat. So not really a change in the student population here, and still maintaining over that 16,000, which is incredible for spring. I know you only see the 5 years going back to 2022, and obviously COVID years messed that up. But prior to this, we were never in the 15,000s. We would always be right around the 13 to 14,000. So the fact that we're maintaining above 16 is actually great for the spring term. FTS, again, we're maintaining relatively flat. This one has a little more impact. So although we're up just over 100 FTS, that's real money. And so it actually does make quite a bit of impact, but this shows you that even with slightly fewer students, they're taking more units, which is causing a full-time equivalent student number to increase, which is actually really good. So again, great news. We're getting more students in, they're getting more classes, even though we can't quite expand the schedule as much as we would like. This is a fun one. So this is waitlisted seats, not students, but seats. So if I'm a student and I am waitlisting in 2 classes, I will count as 2 on this graph. And so you can see back in spring of 22, we were really low. Last year, there was a problem, and it was actually brought up at the board meeting as well. I believe Claudia was one that spoke on that, and other students spoke on it, that the wait lists are everything's out of control. And so we've done a lot of cleanup, and again, trying to stay ahead of fraud, which is an impossible task to stay ahead of it, but we are working hard on it. We've made some adjustments to qualifications for remaining on the wait list. And you can see the impact here that going down from over 17, almost 18,000 waitlisted seats. By cleaning up suspected fraud from those lists, we've dropped it down to just about 6,700. Those 6,700 seats are currently being waitlisted by just over 4,000 headcount. So there are 4,000 students or bodies that are actually currently holding those seats. Our goal obviously is to get as many of those waitlisted seats filled. If we could open up more sections, we could actually get those students in, which is always the goal. So great that it's not the 18,000. It's still a lot. And having 4,000 students that are out there saying, hey, I'm not getting all the classes I want, it's problematic for us. And so we're continuing to work on that, to look on that. I didn't break down the modalities in this week, just to keep it short, but it's the same pattern we've seen. Online has the highest fill rate, hybrid has the next highest fill rate, and then face-to-face still struggling a little bit. So it's still about 75% filled, but this is actually where I want to spend just a little bit of time. So this is actually how we're funded. And so right now, according to the student-centered funding formula, when it comes to full-time equivalent students or the FTS calculation, we are running on a 3-year average. But it's not a 3-year average on what we're actually earning. So you can see in 23-24, we were funded for 12,367 full-time equivalent students. This is the single largest factor in the general fund that we get from the state. But we actually earned or served 13,348 full-time equivalent students, but we were not paid for that. So that year, we actually had 980 unfunded full-time equivalent students. So we were not getting paid for almost 1,000 students, which was a $5.3 million shortfall that year. So another way to think about that is that we were, according to the Chancellor's office, expensing that money to serve students that we were not getting paid for. The next year, 24-25, we're now funded a little bit higher. So we're getting funding for 13,382 full-time equivalent students, but we were actually serving 13,952 students. So we still were running with 571 unfunded full-time equivalent students, which was about $3 million. This year, even better. We're currently getting funded at 13,518 full-time equivalent students, but we're serving 14,479. So we're seeing, according to the Chancellor's office, the shortfall is 471 that we have unfunded, which is $2.5 million. When you look at the 3-year average, the 3-year average only runs off of the funded full-time equivalent students, not what we've earned. So it's using the top row of what the Chancellor's office has been paying us for, the state's been paying us for. So the 3-year average we're actually getting is 13,379. But what's actually been served over those 3 years is 13,926. So the average shortfall over that time is 553 FTS, which has an annual impact of $3 million for this year. But that's not all. It gets better. And by better, I mean worse. When you look at this, last year, Mike was up here telling us that, hey, look, the state looked at our unfunded FTS and they're like, we're going to fund you. And so they were like, we're going to fully fund you. And by fully fund, they meant almost fully fund to about 90% of our backup. But what they did was they sent us the money. They didn't change the FTS that were funded. So we're still being stuck with the 3-year average on these lower FTS calculations, which is impacting what we can earn. The state already caps the level of FTS that we have. So they've capped us at actually about 14,000 FTS for this year. They're like, that's all you can earn. That's all we're going to pay you for. But we're still earning 14,479. So we are still not being funded. In fact, if we were paid off the actual FTS that we're earning this year, the 14,479, that's 1,100 additional FTS that we're not actually getting paid for. That's a true shortfall of $6 million for this current year. So while we hear all this talk about we're going to pay for where the students are, it's student-centered funding formula, we're still not getting the money to serve the students that we're already serving, let alone all those students sitting on the wait list. So when people ask, why aren't you offering more classes? Because we're already operating with $6 million less than what we should be based on the students we're serving. So we don't have the money to expand the class offerings, to hire the faculty, to teach additional classes. That's what Roger's been leveraging, all of the political power that he has and the drive at the state level to say, just fully fund the formula. Give us the growth dollars that we have, that we've earned, so that we can expand our schedule and serve more students. That's what we're trying to get to. The reason we continue to schedule flat over these last 2 academic years is because we're not getting the dollars to be able to expand that schedule. And again, the biggest expansion is just the hiring of more full-time faculty. We have a lot of faculty being hired this term, but that's just replacing. That's just keeping us flat, basically. We're not actually netting any new faculty. So this is a real struggle. What's deceptive, if you look at the P1, the first apportionment report that came out, is it actually shows growth. And it shows that they gave us 490 FTS as growth. And then in the box below it, 471 unfunded. I'm like, okay, quit. You just took it all away. Like, you didn't give us anything. So the net is still 0, and it's nowhere near what we're actually doing. So our goal is the same. We will continue to work to offer as many classes as we can, to serve as many students as we can, which is why we stress efficiency so much, because we can get more students in and get them out, even if we're not getting the $6 million that we should be getting for it. So we will continue to operate like that. We'll continue to drive on that. One thing that I said I wouldn't touch on, but I'm just going to drop it in here because it still irritates me, is that the $6 million is just the money we're not earning on FTS. This doesn't count the $3.9 million deficit factor that they applied to our also income. So we're actually being shorted almost $10 million right now currently for this year. That's a lot of impact to students. We could offer a lot more sections. We could hire a lot more staff and faculty to serve those students if we had that money. Oh, heck, just give us half the money. With $5 million, you could make an impact on that. But when people ask, or you start hearing, hey, why aren't you guys adding more sections? Why aren't you guys hiring? Because we're not getting funded for it. And we're already operating at a deficit. And I think we're doing a really good job of stretching the dollars as far as they can go. But that's probably the biggest issue right now. Questions?
I just want to say we probably need Roger to run for governor or something to make sure we get fully funded.
Thank you for that, but no.
That'll be his retirement plan.
There is a big push right now. We signed on to.
Turn your mic, Roger. Do you have a mic? Oh, all right. Oh, Jackie.
We did sign on to a letter. There has been
You can use one.
There has been a push the last couple of years, and we signed on again with a number of districts that are trying to relieve the 1-year cap so that it can address that. The LAO did come out, the Legislative Analyst's Office, and did identify that access is still key. And depending on where the state budget is, this week has had a lot of turmoil with the stock market, so I don't know what's going to happen with state revenues. But there does seem to be a recognition that there still needs to be, even though there were strides made, that lifting of the 3-year average is detrimental to a lot of schools in the state, because we've brought back the enrollment that they asked us to do across the state, but they're not funding us.
It's the wrong schools. We're just in the wrong locations. So there's still a lot of subsidizing going on for some larger districts that happen to be in some more prominent areas.
You mean maybe where the legislative leadership?
I didn't say San Francisco. I didn't say Los Angeles. I didn't say anything like that. Did not say San Diego. No. All right. Nobody can speak.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry to do this to you all, but I need you, Brandon, in case I make a mistake, you can please correct me. Trustee Corona's predecessor, Ann Mott, had this thing, and she realized that we don't have enough students for the size of our community. Where are all of our students? We are underserving our community. So she worked into board policy. So this is like a history lesson for you guys. She worked into board policy that we will always attempt to serve 5% more students than we're funded for. Because that would force staff to push harder to try to do what we're actually doing right now, because she knew that more students should be coming to us. And what's happening is they're running off to Palomar, they're going to RCC, they're going to other places, or maybe they're just not going at all. And then Trustee Silva's predecessor got fed up with that. That's Dr. Sherry Guerrero. She says, Trustee Mott, your heart's in the right place, but you can't tell staff to do this. They're perpetually having to do planning. If they really follow board policy, they're going to have to do all this planning and pushing when the number's not there. And it makes them do It makes him like chase FTES.
Yeah, we were actually cutting over 100 sections every semester from the schedule because they weren't filling.
Right. And it's like, there's terms for it, but it was not the best way to govern. And Dr. Guerrero got it on the agenda, and we removed that provision that we were always going to try to do what we're actually doing now.
Oh, yeah, we're well ahead of that game. And
so
yeah,
I'm not sure if Trustee Mott, former Trustee Mott, would be thrilled to see this. I think what she would be thrilled at is to see that we're finally kind of serving our community and they're not running off everywhere else. And that's like really one of our biggest accomplishments of the last 10 years. We're serving all of our community. They're not, some are running off, but not anything like it used to be. Our students are going to our college. They're not running to different communities unless it just makes sense because of where they work, where their parents work or something. Yeah. So Trustee Mott would be happy to see, wow, she finally got her wish. We're actually, you know.
Yeah, we've more than,
our
FTS have more than doubled.
Unfunded.
Our FTS have more than doubled since 2011.
So by the way, I just wanted to let you guys know, like this happened right before you guys came. And Trustee Carpenter, you were there for the end of it.
Yep.
So did I get that right?
Yeah. No, your timeline was
Brandon, you've been here that whole time.
I have been here that whole time. And I think so I've been doing enrollment management here at the district since 2010.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing and here's the problem, we don't actually look at our successes a lot. So the part that irritates me the most is really this. This frustrates me because I agree with you, Tom. We're serving more students in our area than we've ever served before. But we have 4,000 students who wanted a class that we couldn't give them, right? We've got 6,700 seats that were there. They wanted them, and we were limited because we couldn't offer the classes. So we've made tremendous strides, a lot of improvements. I think our faculty have their schedules are really, really good. And right now they're being hampered by the same thing. There's not the funding to expand the schedules as we could. So we could even do more. But you're exactly right. We
could be at 10% unfunded if we blew the bank out and drove Vice President Beckham crazy.
Oh, but no,
I'm done. That's all I had. And I don't know if you were.
I did have a question.
But
oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
If you were finished.
I'm done.
Okay, thank you. I did have kind of a random question, but I wanted to go back to a previous meeting when I believe Dr. Brown was the one that said that we added 700 face-to-face, like in-person classes, and we saw 600 dip in enrollment. I was wondering if that was still accurate, and I also have a follow-up question to that.
So I'll have to grab that one. He was talking about seats, right? So we added seats. And so we did expand the face-to-face, the number of seats available in face-to-face classes, and we actually saw a decrease from the previous spring. But I can get you the exact numbers.
Okay. On that note, I wanted to know what the process was for choosing which campus has additional seats being added, because the feedback that I'm receiving from students is that they are wanting in-person classes, but it's in a campus that they don't have access to. Like they can't get to those campuses. So I wanted to know how we chose which locations.
Yeah, so typically what we do is we look at the requests coming from the departments, and then what we're checking is historical fill rates and the number of students that are attending those sites. So we actually have a report online that'll show you where students are coming from for each class that they're taking. So we know, hey, look, and this, well, I'll use an example of, there was a Calc 3 class that was offered out at San Jacinto. There were 23 students enrolled. 18 of them were coming from this side of the district. So when you look at that and you're saying, hey, if we're going to expand it or if we're going to offer that class again, where should we offer it? Well, what's the group of students being impacted? Where are they coming from? So that's some of the things that we do look at. And we look at historical trends also. There are some classes that historically do better at certain campuses, at certain times, on certain days. And so we do take all of those things into consideration. The goal is it's never going to be perfect, and it's never going to perfectly serve every student. So the goal is, how do we hit the biggest majority of that? So that's always the target and the goal. But those are some of the things that we do look at.
Thank you. Is there room in the future to consider offering the classes that we've added recently to other campuses?
Yeah, if they fill, sure. No problem at all. So the issue that we run into is this limitation with the finances, right? So if we could offer classes that only had a handful of students in them, let's go for it. Let's do it. But what we run into is that I can offer a class at a site that only is filled, maybe it's going to fill halfway up. And then I've got twice as many students at another campus who are without that class, because we spent the resources somewhere else. So it's always this weird balancing game that we're playing and trying to make those offerings the same. If we could run the same identical schedule at every campus, we totally would. That would be ideal. But the needs of each area are different. The majors at each campus are very different, and the requests of the students and the times and days, they're very different. So it's trying to navigate all of those and balancing that out.
Thank you. I think the only thoughts that I have on that is I completely understand the need to balance and you know, taking a look at which campuses would need those classes more. On the flip side of that, I do think that we are basically abandoning the students who need those classes that are on other campuses. I think that's the sacrifice that we're putting by choosing which campus to offer certain classes at, because that's what I'm seeing right now, just in my conversations with students one-on-one, saying that they need this certain class to graduate. It's one of their last 2 classes, and they haven't been able to get it because they can't go to Temecula. They live in San Jacinto, and that's being offered in Temecula. So I think that as I mentioned before, you know, when it comes to policy, there are some things that the students are experiencing that they're not really feeling like they're being listened to.
No, and the hard part about that is if we cancel the class and move it over to, say, the San Jacinto campus for those, let's say, handful of students, we've now got 35 or 40 students at the other site saying, now I'm not getting this. So I agree with you. It's not perfect. And sadly, we can't offer everything to everyone. And there is the balance. And I will say that for the most part, we're trying to look at what's the least impact that we'll have, right? The least negative impact. And I was a dean for many years, and I've had to go into classes that were starting that first day and say, hey, there's nobody here to teach this class. I'm sorry, you have no class. Like, those are absolutely crappy decisions. And so that's why we try to also lock in the schedule before enrollment start, because the last thing we want to do is cancel a class that's got students in it. If I cancel it before, at least there's an opportunity for students to find other arrangements. But yeah, and it affected my own family. My own son had to take classes at other campuses that he didn't plan to. So I totally understand that. And obviously the goal is to minimize it as much as possible. I do think that the more money we can get in, the more we can expand the schedule, I think we can start to alleviate a lot of those concerns. It is also the reason that we try to balance out more hybrid and online for the areas that are in high demand, because while I prefer a face-to-face class in a subject, at least I don't have to travel if it's online. At least I don't have to travel as much if it's hybrid. So trying to work those out too. Great questions. Thank you.
I have another question. What I'll also say that, I mean, when I was a student, like 20 something years ago, we had the same situation. And even recently when I took a class last semester. But yeah, it's not a perfect situation. Unfortunately, sometimes, you got to take classes at different colleges, and sometimes at different other colleges, not just different campuses.
Right, different college altogether. Yeah.
Sometimes at RCC, unfortunately. And you know what? They had the same issue too. They had the same problem. And just little by little, we're getting, trying to become better at what we do. Curious, has the online or hybrid or in-person changed in this last enrollment, or is it pretty much the same as it was the last year?
Increase in face-to-face and hybrid classes, which means naturally been a slight decrease in the online offerings.
Would you say that's a good thing?
Yeah. I don't care.
Okay.
So, and here's what I.
It's just nice to see those seats filled in class.
Honestly, from my perspective, I don't care. I want to provide, our goal is to make sure we give students the classes they need at the days and times they need in the modality they need. I've said it before, if every student came back onto campus, we would have nothing but face-to-face classes. If every student wanted online, I would push to have all online classes. Our goal is to get students access to education. And so that is the focus, that's the emphasis. Sometimes there's external factors that require us to do different things. When it comes to the science labs, they have to be face-to-face for transferability. So guess what? They're all face-to-face. So I don't have a personal preference or opinion on it. It's really about how do we meet the student demand. When you look at those 6,700 waitlisted seats, the bulk of them are online classes. Well, that tells me there's a high demand for online classes. Doesn't mean there's no demand for face-to-face? Not at all. But there's a disproportionate demand for online. And so how do you navigate that? How do you deal with that? That's always the question. So from the scheduling standpoint, it doesn't make much difference. As a teacher, I have a preference. I don't want to teach online. I want to teach face-to-face. That's my own personal preference, but I'm not teaching right now, sadly. I'm here with you.
You're teaching us. Thank you.
That's right. That's right. It's almost math. It's good. Anything else? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. We're now at 14.1 adjournment. The next regular meeting of the Board of Trustees is scheduled for Thursday, April 9th. Take note, that hits a little earlier than normal at 4 p.m. right here in Temecula. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Please vote, student trustee.
Aye.
Trustees vote. Aye.
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 We are adjourned.